Welcome, Clayton Lord, Senior Program Director of SHRM Foundation.
Maybe? Okay, cool. I just got a text from Tiffany, and she told me I have 8 minutes instead of 10 minutes, so we'll see how that goes. But my name's Clay Lord. I'm the Senior Program Director at the SHRM Foundation. How many of you know SHRM? I love that. So SHRM Foundation is the nonprofit arm of SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management. We have 340,000 employer members all across the world. We touch 362 million people every day through the world of work. And so my job at the SHRM Foundation is to oversee all the different programmatic work that we do, and this is a big one. So I'm just going to briefly talk to you a little bit about why we at the SHRM Foundation believe that a skills-first future is inevitable. We think that that doesn't mean that workplaces and workers are going to be prepared for it. And so if there's something that is coming at you, it is best to be prepared. And so our job as the nonprofit arm of SHRM and the sort of front edge in a lot of the SHRM work is to make sure that as many employers and as many workers as possible are prepared for that skills-first future. We think this is inevitable for 5 main reasons, and you're going to know some of these, but in terms of diplomas, 2 in 3 working-age adults in the United States currently don't have a 4-year degree. 3 out of 4 job descriptions in the United States currently require a 4-year degree. You might notice that that is somewhat challenging. There's been a 10% decline in enrollment in 4-year degrees in the last 10 years, and the height of enrollment in the United States was in 2019, in the whole history of the country. So for most of the time that we've been a country, it has been 2/3 or more of the working population that hasn't had that 4-year degree. And right now, about 8 in 10 people who are working age don't believe that it would be worth it for them to take out a loan in order to get a 4-year degree. So then you look at the dollars. One of the main drivers historically for accessing college has been the increased opportunity and economic mobility that college has historically afforded. That is still absolutely true. It still takes 30 years for someone without a college diploma to get to the starting wage of someone with a college diploma. But there are notable exceptions. How much money do you think a commercial airline pilot makes in the United States? $175,000 a year on average, and about 20% of them do not have a college degree. The government doesn't require a college degree, although many of the airline providers do. And then you've got the third one, the demographic shift. So I'm sure you're very well aware of this, but there are more people exiting the workforce than entering the workforce. Just demographically, we've got a big generation exiting, smaller generation coming in, which means that the talent crunch, which is already somewhat acute, is going to get bigger as we move forward. Also, we've got this big challenge on the other side, which is that there's not enough time in the day for people to do their jobs, particularly HR professionals and hiring managers. And so they are looking actively for shortcuts and skills, we believe, if they can be harnessed in the right way, offer a shortcut that is amenable to everyone and is, as Angela said, a win-win. And then finally, we're in the age of AI, as you might have heard today. And AI makes many more things possible that even 5 years ago weren't going to be possible. So we do, however, still have this problem, which is that it's not actually really an agreement issue. I imagine if we polled this room, if we polled most of the employers in the United States, in our data, 95% of them would say, sure, skills sound great, that's awesome. But only about 15% of them are doing anything about it. And if you actually look at what doing anything about it means, Burning Glass came out with some data last year that says it's more in the single digits in terms of employers who are taking meaningful action beyond just adjusting their degree requirements in their job descriptions. So why is this happening? Well, we believe that we have an agreement to action gap that is driven by 3 things. The first one is that the return on investment is really hard when it comes to skills right now. It's getting easier every day, but right now it takes, according to our folks, some of them have as little as 5 minutes to go through 200 resumes and deliver the top 5 candidates to their hiring manager. There's another piece of data that says that an average resume is viewed by a human for 6 seconds in the course of their job, their kind of path through job searching. So we have to understand that we are dealing with a moment where you are being asked to generate and develop new skills all the time, even as a hiring manager or an HR person. You might see this orange bar down at the bottom. That is our HR and employee experience friends and their desire to learn new skills. And they're not, this is not just because HR is full of curmudgeons. I love my HR colleagues. I work in the field of HR. What it is that HR is constantly asked to be the new smart person for whatever the issue is of the day, and it's really tiring and in fact is actually impossible. So, the second thing is around trust and quality. There are over 1 million credential options out there in the world right now, provided by 60,000 credential providers. There is zero quality control, very little structure, although our friends at Credential Engine are trying mightily to build a structure around it, and there's very little guidance around how to understand what is and isn't a credential of quality. Whereas on the other side, you've got a degree system that is relatively highly regulated, at least for the moment, and is in some ways much more trustworthy on its surface. That said, this is actually okay in some ways because HR professionals don't really want to be in charge of articulating the future technologies they have. They just want an easy button. They want to change as little as possible about the way that they work in order to make sure that they are getting the maximum benefit, they're seeing the maximum number of qualified candidates at any given time. The third area is risk, and the gentleman earlier was talking about risk. Risk is maybe the biggest and most important thing for us to think about when we're talking about any change management practice in the world of work, including around skills. One of the ways that we think about this is that our members at SHRM, we have 340,000 employer members. On average, they hire fewer than 5 people a year. That's 2.5 HR staff on staff. When you're talking about dollars that go into a change management process, reputation for both the hiring manager and the HR person that go into it, time, career risk, we're really in a kind of inflection moment that we need to address by creating a safe environment that de-risks skills-first hiring and advancement. Right now, if you hire 5 people from Harvard and 2 of them don't work out, there we go. Whose fault is that? It's the people from Harvard. If you hire 5 people who are skills-first candidates and 2 of them don't work out, there's a good chance that you're going to get dinged or your skills-first initiatives are going to get knocked out. So, we are trying to embrace the reality of being an HR professional. We want to make sure that anything that we are presenting is easy to see value in, easy to be trusted, and possible to act together. And so even though I missed my 8-minute mark, I'm going to run this 1-minute video. Okay, good. Tiffany gave me the nod. It's fine. So we have launched something called the Center for a Skills-First Future. You can find it right now at skillsfirstfuture.org. We have done this in collaboration with a whole bunch of you who are in the room, and I'm so excited about it. It's 18 months of work, 3 years of work if you include all of the pre-conversations about funding. And so this is just a brief overview of what it is. It's 1 minute long, I promise, and then I'll get off the stage. Uh-oh. Hold on. It's supposed to have a talk track. Well, not a talk track, but a soundtrack. So this is the Center for Skills First Future. Is it now paused? There we go. I'll just talk it through. So the Center for a Skills First Future is a web hub. It's at skillsfirstfuture.org. It's powered by SHRM Foundation, but is actually the collaboration of 3 major funders and 12 ecosystem partners. One of the big components of it is a resource library that puts all of the resources in one place. There are 500 different resources. It's powered by the Learn and Work Ecosystem Library, Holly Zanville right there, the rock star behind it. 500 different resources that are now aligned through a multifaceted search that employers can use to get to exactly the resources, tools, and trainings that they need in the moment to solve the problem that they're working on. The second thing is the Skills Action Planner. This is to actualize on that library. So you can take a 15-minute free assessment, and it will give you a chart and a bunch of recommendations based on where you are and where you want to go. This is built on a change model that was developed with our friends at Education Design Lab. And has 8 different vectors that you can move on as an employer and gives you all of that information delivered to your inbox. There's a 16-hour credential that we've developed with SHRM Education, Grads of Life, as well as a bunch of our other partners. And it validates your experience. We have found that is crucial. HR folks need to understand that they know what they're talking about, and they need other people to understand that they know what they're talking about too. And then finally, we have a vendor database with 300 skills vendors that HR professionals can engage with and understand the quality of on their own terms. You put all of that together, along with the support of these 3 major funders, including the Charles Koch Foundation, who has been an extraordinary partner throughout this process, as well as Walmart and Workday, and the 11 ecosystem partners that I was mentioning before, and you've got a pretty cool system. So, you can go there, and you can find out more about it, and I hope you will. There's a session a little bit later today where we'll talk this through in more depth, and I appreciate you all for your time. Thank you.